U.S. Girls is the moniker of American Canadian pop. No, I'm sorry, I read that weird. American/Canadian noise pop / experimental pop outfit. That's basically a pseudonym of Megan Remy. In a Poem Unlimited is her 8th studio album.
Dang.
And overall, I really like the dark, very political songwriting on this album, but at times it's very hard to get behind the production. That is my introduction into this album.
Ooh,
I think
times.
What?
At times.
Oh, final track's called Time. I gotcha.
Yeah, it was god awful.
You need to stop making jokes. That's my duty, to make the jokes that bomb and get the cricket sound effect.
That was a good one.
Oh, was it? It was a good one.
All right, move on.
I trust you. Yeah. It was a good one. I'm just improving your self-esteem.
Thanks.
It was a good one.
Thank you.
I laughed a lot. Like, I didn't laugh outside, but I laughed on the inside.
Thank you.
Okay. But, so yeah, I really like the dark political lyrics that are on this album. It covers a lot of very political and kind of edgy. I don't want to say edgy because I don't think
Some of it's
edgy. Like I associate edgy now with just like white dudes. It's all I can associate edgy now. Like Lou the Human, he's edgy. Will Toledo on Twins Fantasy,
really edgy.
He's pretentious and edgy. Who else? There's a lot of edgy white dudes out there. We can probably come up with like 100 more examples. But yeah, just edgy. I don't think she's as edgy, but her political, it's just very political, I would say. Very, very in your face about it. I want to compare this project to Tune Yards. And I know you're gonna hate me for saying this, but like I don't think musically this is like Tune Yards, but song wise, I think they share some commonalities. Tune Yards is way more annoying, but like that's what we love about them, is that they're annoying.
Yeah.
And very catchy. This is not. It's catchy at times, but this is way more up in your face about it. Whereas Tune Yards, it hides it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see everything. And that's what I liked about I can feel you creeping into my private life. I don't know why I said, get out of there. Get out of my private life.
Get out.
But this, it's very open-ended. And when it's not open-ended, I'm lost. If that makes sense. Because you give me a silver platter of, like, lyrics, and then you take it away for something completely different that has nothing, like for something completely different that's not even really political. And I feel like you were giving me some songwriting I was really digging, and that one style I felt like you were doing really well, and you just kind of take it away, and like I'm lost. So I feel that a lot on this, not a lot, but I feel that on multiple moments. I feel like the first 2 tracks, set up this album really nicely. I really love the introduction track. Velvet for Sale. I don't know why I said everything else. I just love how it's. I think to quote her about what the track's about, I read an article with her where she said, "Men are lucky. Women and children have yet to take up arms, and although I hope this never happens, and I completely disagree that violence is ever effective, this very idea was right for a song." So basically, it's about like a retaliation of men kind of abusing women and children, and them just kind of being like, yeah, we're fucking sick of this shit, we're sick of your shit, and coming back. I like the visuals that she predicts, or she gives over the entire track. The cock and pole get the old boys dancing. Then she said the recoil is the celebration, the blood like oil spilling on the floor. And this track with the chorus and its horns and its guitar is just, ooh, it's just good. Like, this is a good opener to the album. Rage of Plastic, it's not like that. It's just not. It's not
like a
able.
Bad Bjork track.
It's not able to find up. It reminds me of Young Americans era David Bowie, which is era David Bowie I really don't care for personally, I know a lot of people love that era of Bowie, but personally, I don't. We get back into Ma. I'm just gonna call it that from now on, which is I'm gonna give her credit for this because I think she deserves a lot of credit. She gave a fucking critique of President Obama that wasn't completely asinine, like, because usually when people critique Obama, it's like the most fucking asinine thing in the fucking world. They always go to like the birth certificate or any shit like that. She actually has like valid critiques.
Yeah.
I think Obama's kind of like a touch and go president on whether he was good or not. But like, I think she has very valid critiques of his presidency, and she gives us good songwriting that matches it. The track gives me like a weird Blondie vibe. Maybe I'm the only person that thinks that, but like I think it's just that kind of sound of pop music that I'm just getting that vibe from.
That's like the whole vibe I got over the entire album.
Blondie.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Gwen Stefani, Blondie, Madonna. When I have the floor, I'll get more into it, I think.
But one of my favorite moments my favorite moments on this album is her lyrics on this track where she said, "We watched your hair go gray, that stressfully manly shade. You wore it well. No one could tell the situation was hell." She's talking about his hair slowly turning into gray.
What did you look at that?
Yeah, no. And I love it. I love that visual. And then followed by this one is just completely fucking hilarious. As you were the first in line to use those bugs up high, obviously talking about drones, those cowards' weapons of choice, but you got that winner smile and you know how to leave them moist. Such like a dark humor to that line, and I absolutely love it. It's a solid critique. It's also a very dark humor line. Mm-hmm. Very fucking excellent, very catchy, very political track. I think it's really good. This little interlude that pops up, I want to give some credit to. Why do I lose my voice when I have something to say? When I was going through the track list, I was actually hoping this was gonna cover some of the same ground as a track Jeff Rosenstock covered on Post. Your throat, how when it's most urgent, you can't really find the words to say, or you can't say them. I was hoping that she was going to cover that on this track, but in the end we get this like really raw, like 20-second interlude of her voice that is really squeaky, really gross. I think she lost her voice, and it's basically she did lose her voice. I don't know why I sound like a jackass today. It's probably because I'm just a jackass in general. But I like the realism of the skit. I don't know. I think it fits there's a statement.
It's like a good companion track to Your Throat, I think.
I wish it was an entire track. I don't know. Not that she's saying that entire track, but I wish there was a companion piece to that track, because I feel like that topic's very common, but we don't hear enough about it. Mm-hmm. Especially in this day and age. But then we get into like tracks like Rosebud, which I just don't care for overall, but it's immediately like counterreacted with Incidental Boogie. Great title for a track. I don't know why I love that track title so much.
Incidental Boogie.
Because I just think of Boogie Brock Hansen, and I think of like an incident of when Boogie was too much.
Chobo lost a finger.
He lost all of his glorious pink hair. It has a nice spoken word intro, and this track goes fucking dark. Like it goes. This is where it gets. I would say you could say edgy, but I think it's very political and has a lot to say about gender and how men are assholes, or how partners are assholes in general. I need a partner to creep in and feel his steed. Life has made no sense without a beating, you see, and life was just too quiet without no one screaming at me. And then the Incidental Boogie grabbed a hold of me, and I got myself a real man who doesn't hit that hard, so I can still do my job. But now I got this man to show me that I'm all wrong. He hits me left, he hits me right all the time, but no marks, no evidence to see. Don't you know these days I feel so lucky. To be brutalized means you don't have to think, and life is easy when there's only pain to compete. That's fucking crazy. It's not good. Like,
No.
like it's like a bad scenario, but lyrically it's genius. I would say. Like I don't want to condone this like behavior that's on these tracks, but like lyrically it's genius. It's like taking a bad scenario and like writing it down. This kind of like feeling of like being lost in this pain, but it's kind of like the only thing you know, and you don't know where else to go, so you kind of like get stuck in it. I like how she's able to explain that. I think it's a very political track. I think it's a very well spoken for, up in your face, very easy to read, brilliant track. I think that there's really strong songwriting on this, but I'm disappointed that this entire project is not like that. Because after this, we don't really get, besides Pearly Gates, we don't get a moment that like even comes close to beating this. Lover or L over, it's kind of about this like faulty relationship.
Yeah.
It's not as exciting. It's not
Especially coming off of something like that.
production wise exciting. It's not catchy. There's nothing to it that gets in. We get in Pearly Gates again. It's this like dip where it's like we get from a mad track to a really good track and back to a mad track. Pearly Gates has some great songwriting to it. It's not really political as a lot of others, but I think it's just as equally brilliant in a sense. I'm just gonna read it because I think it's great. But like some roadside vet with a bag in my hand, I could do anything. Saint Peter asked for one chance to be an angel in his eyes. It seemed to be the safe bet. So I closed my eyes and opened my wide gates wide, and Saint Peter came inside. Brilliant. It's fucking dark humor at its finest, and yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say about that track except for it's fucking catchy as all hell. Gives me a vibe of like Gwen Stefani, a lot of like 90s,
No
2000s,
doubt.
90s, 2000s pop music, and I think kind of like what Ria Samayama did on Rena, her EP. I think the production of that track fits that style she was going for to a T. I wish the rest of the album was like that production wise, but I think after this point, Poem and Time do not live up to like the hype. We get a little short interlude, which is I have nothing to write home about, nothing to complain about either, because it's only like 10 seconds. But Poem, I like the arpeggiated synth, but it's talking about how we got here in society, but like it's nothing exciting. Like it's not anywhere near where any of the previous tracks were there. It wasn't formatted as any of the previous tracks. It's not as fun. It's just I don't feel like because like in these tracks they're catchy, they're fun, but they're dark, they're political. It's this like weird warship thing. That's why I compared them to Tune Yards, because I feel like Tune Yards is like that. Maybe they're not as dark, but they're very political tracks that are very catchy.
Yeah.
This is just not that. Time, the 7 minute closer to this, is too long, not exciting at all, not clever, no interesting production. I don't know why like that was the ending.
Time reminds me of if you ever go to like a county fair, if you ever go to like a festival and they have like a cover band there, and the person might tell them like, okay, you guys have one song left, and they'll be like, let's do Freebird, but like 6 times, and we're gonna extend the guitar solo at the end for a half an hour. And so their last song ends up being like super long. That's what this reminds me of. Or they'll like do a medley of really long, like guitar heavy songs, and that'll be their last song.
Yeah.
That's what Time is.
Yeah.
It's like, how much jamming can we do in 7 minutes?
And it's a disappointment because it's like a slow and boring, lyrically unpleasing, productionally unpleasing ending to such a well written and well spoken for album for the most part, I would say. Um yeah. It just puts a damper on anything. This album's 30 something minutes. I don't think it needed to be longer, but I think there needed to be more material here, similar to Velvet for Sale, similar to Ma, similar to Incidental Boogie, similar to Pearly Gates. Those are like the highlight moments. Incidental Boogie, brilliant fucking track. Pearly Gates, brilliant fucking track. But the rest of this is either kind of bland. Like, I think Rage of Plastic is okay overall. I think Roseblood and like Lover are okay overall, but like Poem and Time are just boring. I don't know what to feel about this album. I don't know what to rate it, because I do like the moments I fucking love, and I think they're just brilliant. But like when it's just boring towards the end. That's just hard to finish. I think I'm gonna give this a 7, and I know a lot of people are gonna complain about that because a lot of people love this album. I wish I loved this album. I wish I like loved the end. I wish I loved Poem. I wish I loved Time, and I wish I was wrong and like for thinking that, but like I don't. It's like Poem and Time are the 2 worst tracks on this album, and like they just ruin it. Even if they weren't there, I think this album's kind of flip-floppy with going into Velvet for Sale, Rage of Plastic, Ma, going to Rosebud is just flip-floppy. Songwriting-wise, nothing really super consistent. And that's all I gotta say. I want to hear more from U.S. Girls in the future. I want to hear more of this style. I want to hear more fucking witty, fucking political, fucking just brilliant songwriting that they give us. Like I know she's capable of doing this. Like I believe in her. Like she's taking these like terrible situations and turning into like genius work. And I don't know how she's able to do it. It probably took a lot out of her to write this, but like the rest of the album does not compare to like those moments, and I want more of them. The darkest moments on the album are my personal favorite, weirdly enough, on this pop album. And I think that's what makes U.S. Girls such a strange anomaly. It's just because the darkest moments are the best for this pop band. I don't know. But I feel a 7 out of 10 overall. I'm a bit disappointed. I'm not... Well, I am disappointed overall, I would have to say. I think just saying a bit undersells everything I just said. But I know you feel probably a lot more heavier on this than I did. But I'm going to let you have the floor.
Okay, so to start out, that was a long review. I'm going to make mine pretty brief. Overall, I really enjoyed some of these moments on the track or on the album. M.A.H. with Barack Obama's like nobody ever like talks about that, you know?
Yeah,
it's like things that people don't talk about often, and I really enjoyed that track. I thought Pearly Gates was catchy as all get out. Like I really liked that track. It gets stuck in my head a lot. But the rest of the track, or the rest of the albums, I guess production-wise, reminded me a lot of ABBA. And ABBA is a band that I enjoy, but sometimes they're just like really synthesized, kind of cheesy songs are just too much for me. They almost make me like sick to my stomach, like sickly sweet. They give me a headache, you know? Yeah. I can't listen to them for a long time, and that's kind of what this album was for me. It's just like a lot of...
Wait, you don't like listening to Dancing Queen on loop for like 3 hours?
I like Dancing Queen.
You like listening to it on a loop?
My girlfriend has ABBA Gold in her car, which is like brilliant album, completely understated, like brought ABBA back into the limelight so they wouldn't be remembered as just like a cheesy band, because they had a lot of really great hits. But I can't stand to listen to that album for more than a couple tracks, or else I will just melt. It's you know what I'm saying?
I think I found your weakness.
It's too much. Too much of like a sickly sweet, super synthesized sound.
Okay. Can that be my weapon in Kanye Quest?
ABBA
Gold, and it makes people melt.
Yes.
Okay. That's my weapon of choice now.
It's a sword.
Completely unrelated.
With a boombox on it.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, watch our Kanye Quest. Or listen to that. If you're just individually watching this U.S. Girls review, but sorry.
But overall, I'd have to say this album's just is a gigantic letdown, especially coming off of the single Pearly Gates. And you listen to tracks like M.A.H. or Incidental Boogie, I think is lyrically heavy, but I don't like the production or the melody of it. Those are like two moments that are far between on this album. One's at the beginning, one's towards the end, with just a lot of like ABBA filler in the middle of it, and it's boring for me. And then you go straight from Pearly Gates up here, nosedive into the ground, just careening into the cement with tracks like Poem, Traviata, and Time. Um, I struggle to give this album any more than a 4.75. I just didn't like it. Pearly Gates, M.A.H., great tracks. Like, definitely listen to them because I think I will be I will still be listening to them in the months to come. But overall, the rest of it is just a huge disappointment for me.